So, hi everyone, welcome to today's workshop. Super hyped to tell you guys with the Bifrost team. And today's workshop is building LSD use cases on Bifrost. So, without further ado, I'd love to introduce you guys to Tyrone. If you don't mind, you can share your screen.
Right, thanks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thanks for participating in this event. I'm Tyrone from Bifrost. And we also have a colleague, Herry, is the developer of Bifrost. Bifrost team actually is very welcome to be invited to this one. And today we are mainly talking about some introduction around some logics about the mechanism, about liquid staking sessions, and developer works around Bifrost. So yeah, let's see how developers can build up on the Bifrost, and at the final we will answer some questions from users. And yes, please don't hesitate to ask any questions to us, and we would love to answer them. Everybody, welcome to this workshop. And the main idea for this workshop is to do the introduction to Bifrost. And we can start some brief concept of Bifrost, and we take deep in further about how we can build up on the Bifrost. So a brief start from what is Bifrost actually. About Bifrost, we are a parachain based on both Polkadot and Kusama. So we bid for the Kusama parachain in 2020, and in 2021 we got Polkadot parachain. So, but a little bit different from other projects in Polkadot ecosystem is that Bifrost actually have only one native token as a BNC on these two chains, which means we only have one midnight in between these two Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So it's a little bit unique for other projects. And we are actually a Web3 derivatives protocol that provides decentralized cross-chain liquidity for stake assets by leveraging on the cross-consensus mechanism, which is the XCM. It can provide some cross-chain liquidity service for the multi-chain scenarios. And we have a native Bifrost app, which have some main client functions to interact between token and V token, to interact token and liquid staking and swap functions, and other liquidity related scenarios with V tokens. And by the way, the ecosystem we are building up on natively Sub3, of course, and EVM is the next step we will support for. And in the current stance, Moonbeam and A-Star are the main scenarios that developer can build with Bifrost to deploy the contract related with some of V tokens to building some scenarios right there. So EVM related. And WOSM is the next step. We are watching for Gear protocol to get online and see what will happen with WOSM. So definitely it's the next step we shall see. So who is Bifrost? Bifrost actually a parachain, and we also provide multi-chain liquidity, staking derivative. So LSD for multi-chain. So for example, like we have launched about eight kinds of V tokens. So Polkadot, Kusama, Filecoin, and other parachains. So multi parachains, Moonbeam, Moonriver, and next step like A-Star, Fala. So for other parachains, LSTs, and definitely our self-native token, liquid staking derivative, VBNC, of course. So multi-chain LST is our main product, and we have accumulated about $67 million cap, and we have users means the address on Bifrost on chain, so that's 84,000. And in the right bottom, we can see some investors on Bifrost. What's the position of Bifrost in this ecosystem? Okay, so we can see ecosystem graph. So on the right-hand side, we can see there's the Bifrost logo around. You can see some V tokens around Bifrost. So Bifrost is kind of like, you know, the middle layer in this ecosystem to provide staking and liquid staking between a native chain and DeFi use cases. So on the left side, you can see different ecosystem, for example, like, you know, Kusama, Cosmos, Arbitrum, and they're actually connecting with like cross-chain scenarios by transfer their native token or tokens from ERC20 from a chain to a power chains like Moonbeam's EVM compatible chain. So they can easily do that to transfer then ERC20 to a sub3 power chain, right? So for a sub3 power chain, we are both using the XCM format to transfer the message between each power chain. So Bifrost can easily receive that message or token or assets from the other power chain. And once we receive that, so we can use our own logic and the palette to mint that token into a V token. So that's why we have, you know, kind of like a different consensus mechanism V token. So for Filecoin, definitely that is not a proof of stake consensus, but we can do that either. So originally is the token can be crossed to Polkadot ecosystem, so we can make sure that it can run under fully decentralized and trustless way to mint the derivative. And then is the next step. We are pushing forward with different DeFi use cases to leveraging the yield and the staking reward for users. So that's how Bifrost stands in this position. And we are coming here for sort of what Bifrost are trying to solve, mainly on the proof of stake chain. So there's some problems that users are facing that, right? So if I'm a user, I'm doing staking, or I need to choose doing the DeFi, so to maximize my yield from this from a crypto, right? So there is the trade-off actually. So if you do staking, which means your token will be locked for a period of time, so you can do anything without liquidity. And on the DeFi scenario, if you deposit your liquidity into any of the use cases, so which means your token will be locked as well, and you won't choose to stake for the consensus. So it has another problem from the consensus, is that more of the staking token into a network or blockchain, so which means relatively higher of the security of a proof of stake chain it is. So this is how the proof of stake works, right? So the problem we see that actually is a barrier for users, especially for DeFi users, to maximum the capital efficiency for their token. So we have we conclude three problems. So the first one is security. You cannot make sure that security getting higher by a very low staking rate. and the liquidity cost is definitely kind of like a opportunity cost, right? So if you do staking and you lost the chance to do DeFi yield or DeFi scenarios, so that's the kind of like a opportunity cost for you found. And the cross chain is that if you cross your token to another chain, which means you lose the chance to use this in your original chain. So especially for staking, if you stake into the chain, so you cannot cross it to another chain for other scenarios. And what Bifrost position in this logic? So before, so we can see there are separate squads. So staking, Parachain, DeFi, DEX. So they are separating. But after, Bifrost trying to like build a middle layer to connect different elements into one. So on the top side, we can see Parachain, DeFi, DEX. So that's on the top, on the right top of Bifrost Parachain. So we definitely can make sure that token runnings under these scenarios, and in the below we can see there's staking and the base layer protocols, which means in Bifrost Parachain we can provide a solution that with this liquid staking. So we won't let that problems happen again for leveraging leveraging of DeFi and staking. So we are we're combining of them together into one. So the main question is how and why build on top of Bifrost. So for now, we need to take a little bit dips into the Bifrost mechanism of how we stake for users and how we generate liquid staking derivatives. So that's important on the actual asset reserve of each liquid staking, and how the logic works in the trustless and the decentralized way, right? So Bifrost is using the staking liquidity protocol, so which is the on the center of this screen. You can see there's the SLP, so which is palette name, palette abbreviation of for Bifrost staking liquidity protocol palette. And this palette is definitely running under the runtime of Bifrost. So on the left hand, you can see there are different chains: Kusama, Polkadot, Moonbeam, Maystar, Fala, Ethereum, Filecoin, Solana. So we have different solutions to bring that asset into Bifrost Parachain. So for those different cross-chain solutions, for relay chains, Kusama and Polkadot, we are using XCM. And the Parachains, we are using kind of like a derivative of XCM message. Is especially for the Parachain to Parachain connect. So it's the XCMP. And for some heterogeneous proof of stake chains, so we are using kind of like third parties bridge solution, or the bridge that we build ourselves to bridge that assets from the other chain to Bifrost. On the right hand side, we can see staking rewards, mint rewards, liquidity mining. So there's different use cases of V tokens. It's how V token works on Bifrost and how it can work with other Parachains. So it's very easy for Bifrost to transfer any of the V token to another Parachain, and different Parachains has their different consensus, different use cases. So some of Fala is doing privacy, and Moonbeam's doing EVM compatible, and some others doing DEXs. So different scenarios, we can make sure that V token effortlessly flows to another chain. And for benefits of Bifrost power chain, so the first one is definitely the access between power chains to the other chain using the native bridge, native transaction format of protected by the consensus of all power chains. And smart node selections, which means how we select the validators and each of the liquid staking drop. And let's take an example for maybe for Kusama or Polkadot. So we are quoting like a combination format. So we select automatically from the mechanism to give them score to select these validators, and then we have or DAO, or we can say governance, to select from the community, so which validate the most voted one, so it can be actual selected at the end. And yes, by using the scoring and governance selection, so it maintains a relative of a higher base staking reward than the other protocols. Smart positions and virtual liquidity, so which lowers slippage, capital utilization, higher user rewards, kind of like V token use cases. Bifrost XCM Proto. So we will take deeps into that in the next session. So it's kind of like Bifrost will deploy in an XCM SD the other chain, so we can make sure the other chain have capacity to call the functions on Bifrost. So native users less than native users on Moonbeam, so they don't have to come to Bifrost chain, but they can use V token. That's briefly how it works. And we are creating competitive differences at a protocol level. So the first one is definitely sub-tree protocol. That's the reason why the developers are selecting Kusama to start things. And the special functionalities, like a V token, we have some small product functions. So a small example, like we are initiated the first of faster redeem function, so which means the redeem is have a less period of time than the original chain. So it's a quite of a novel idea. High liquidity utilization is definitely how we build on the liquidity of V token to token on the other DEX or the So that's quite of how it works. Optimize staking rewards. Like I said, we have a mechanism to maintain the validator selecting, and definitely we also have monitors and governance to select from the validator, so we can maintain a relative of a higher rewards than the original chain. So in this one, there are some elements around the points to V token. So profits, flexible redemption, like I said, which is a fine function. So it's actually like an order matching of staking orders and redeem orders. So we can easily make sure that each V token have, if the V token have matched the staking order, the redeem of this V token can be instantly executed. And cross-chain liquidity layer. So by using XCM portal, and we can achieve that the other chain and they can remotely call the functions of Bifrost. And by using some V token lending or borrowing protocol, so we can achieve, we allow users to achieve leveraging of the yield from the V token, and the governance capacity, capability. So all the V token functions, not only V token, all wallet functions are adjusted by via Bifrost, by governance, referendum, democracy. So it's all depends on how the governance work. So that's a brief showcase about a market share circle. So Bifrost is now taking up about 59% in Kusama for especially for VKSM, this liquid staking derivative. So we have some competitors like Karura, Lido, Parallel, and this is how we stand in this position right now. Okay, so we come to why build on top, and we will take one more step into deeps about how the mechanism works. So how XCM works on Bifrost. So why Bifrost using the XCM? I just want to read a sentence from Polkadot Wiki. So two powerchain speak XCM to seamlessly interact with each using a standard messaging format. So we can see there are two important elements. So first one speak to each other, and the other one is using the standard messaging format. So it's quite similar to using Morse code for communication format. So Morse code to communicate between different power chains, and which actually increase the security level and safety level, and make sure that message transfer in the fastest way. So it allows power chains to transmit information in a mutually understandable communication mode, ensuring the accuracy and security of cross-chain communication. XCM is quite like union in this Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem. So that's also the reason why we started to be on Polkadot since 2019. So XCM is quite strong and important in this ecosystem. So for Bifrost, it's so important by using the XCM, as we are a multi-chain liquid staking protocol. So we need to communicate. We need to we need to receive message from other power chains, so which can support us to do decentralization enough and transparency enough staking, unstaking, or switching validated collectors on the target chain. So for us, the importance is sending assets and a message to a destination chain. And second one is retrieving the messages from a destination chain. So we need to send, and we also need to receive that message from the destination chain. So it can make sure the whole logic works in a decentralized way. So XCM has different versions, and from V1 to V2. So it mainly define how to send message, but V3 just updated in about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I remember. So V3 actually added the message query function. That's quite important for Bifrost functions. I will tell the detail later. So the query response functions help us to check the status of messages sent to the other chain. Okay, so we can take deeper into the mechanism, the logic of how the Bifrost staking liquidity protocol works. So we're taking from as we are a user. we sent some dot into the SLP protocol, SLP palette, and once they receive that, so it will mint some liquid staking token to the users. And in step 3, the SLP pad will transfer the XCM transact and stake to the validator in the destination chain. So you can see on top right, you can see Polkadot. So that means the Polkadot relay chain. So the SLP send the staking, send the asset and stake into the validators in Polkadot, and then we have a service to synchronize the status and catch the data from the validators. So the service will confirm the staking has done and send the result to the staking liquidity protocol. And once the SLP receive that, so once the SLP pilot receive that, it will the service will query the status from the SLP. So the data will be queried from the validators and teleport to the SLP. So the SLP palette will know, how much of staking right now in the validators, and how much of a redeem how much of the redeem amounts is in the queue. And in the last step is the price adjustment. So for token and a V token price, it's kind of like calculating between all the dot amount in staking and the V token and a V dot issuance amount. So you can easily see that how much of each V token to one token. And by using XCM V3, so we can see some in the green light. There are some functions has been abandoned from the service. So which means the whole protocol is getting more of the transparent. So if we go back to XCM V2, we can see that the service is actually works about 4 steps to transfer some message between a destination chain and the Bifrost. But by using V3, we can easily see that SLP palette can easily work with XCM V3 query response to get a result from the Polkadot destination chain. So SLP can easily get the result of the staking, yes or no. The staking is indeed staked or not staked. So we can get that result. So that's the query result. And we also can set the result, and the destination chain, and also can send the result back to Bifrost. So it's kind of like a communication of a message. But the problem right now for the V3 is that it's still on the first stage. So there are more of a space to do the development, like query some data from the destination chain. So the SLP can automatically know how much of staking amount in the destination chain and how much of a token in redemption. So this kind of data is not involved in the XCM V3 by now, but I think that's the next step objection for the parity. So yeah, like I said, that's the remaining upgrade for the V3, and right now we can just receive yes or no from the result, but it needs data such as amount of tokens being staked, the amount of tokens being unstaked, and sort of things, sort of data from the destination chain. So why XCM V3 makes Bifrost unique? Definitely the first one is no centralized risk. And the second one, quick reaction. By using the XCM V3, by abandoning the relay between Bifrost chain and the destination chain, so it literally saved about 1 minute to receive the message from the chain to another. So normally the transaction time is an average about 3 to 5 seconds after one block. So is quick reaction that we say. Across consensus development, it's quite like using the XCM proto to do some of interesting things to query the result from the other chain, so we can easily build on top of that. So how to build on Bifrost, and we will mainly talk about based on the XCM action. So as I mentioned about the XCM proto, this as how we name it right now is the XCM action palette. So XCM action palette works for cross-chain V-token minting scenarios, and which supports users to mint or redeem V-token on the target chain, cross-chain swaps, and liquidation. So some of the scenarios are mainly 3 of this, mint, redeem, and cross-chain liquidation is what we are pushing forward right now for the XCM action palette. And it allows builders to build V-token use cases on any EVM or WASM compatible chains like A-Star, Moonbeam, Gaia. So V-token can float to any consensus parachains via the XCM. So you can choose any any one between these 3. So to build on top of them, and we are right now pushing forward the XCM action palette SDK to these EVM compatible chains. So it will relate to how the XCM action palette works. So how that works can make sure that V-token transfer between Bifrost and another chain in an effortless way. How that message function calling in an effortless way. So the SDK is deployed on the target chain, and it works actually remotely calling Bifrost chain XCM action, and then XCM palette will execute 2 steps. So the first one is call SLP palette and mint V-tokens. And the second one is transact V-token back to the SDK caller via the XCM. So if we go to a little detail, we can see here's the workflow. So it's the interaction between A-Star and Bifrost. So if we say that users are A-Star, they are native users of A-Star. So what they need to do is they need to transfer the token to, let's say they want to mint some, liquid staking derivative Bifrost. So they need to transfer their token to the XCM action contract. This is how the SDK deploy the contract on top of A-Star EVM compatible. So the contract will XCM calling the XCM action pattern on Bifrost, and the query result for the calling. So the XCM action will do mint token to V-token in the step 4 and 5 to interact between the SLP palette. So the V-token can be minted and the V token will be transferred back to the XCM action palette, and then it will be automatically transferred by the XCM to the user. And once the user receives that, the query result will be sent back to Bifrost. So once Bifrost receives that, yes, it's been staked. Sorry, it's being transferred to users, and the transaction is passed. So the whole procedures is done. That is how the XCM action work. So from a user's end, they interacting directly to A star, but not Bifrost. So they want to mint V token, so they directly interact with the smart contract on A star, so they can get one V token, but not directly go to Bifrost app and mint some token themselves and transfer it back to A star. So actually, we just hide those steps in the background. So this is the simple logic how the XCM action palette works in the underlying logic. So what's the benefits to build on Bifrost? The first one, flexibility of choosing EVM or WASM compatible chain to build. And then possibility to create multi-chain scenarios, multi-chain use cases, like a Moonbeam and A star. They are pushing forward for some grants and some bounties for the new ideas in their ecosystem. And definitely Bifrost is pushing this forward as well. So which means the possibility to create multi-chain use cases can absorb different benefits from two or three ecosystems. So the third one is shared tech marketing community resources with Bifrost. And what exactly to build on Bifrost? So that might be an interesting thing. It's all about the bounty challenge. In the bounty challenge, we have a inspiration list, which includes some applications like DeFi, gaming, NFT, DRD, DAO, privacy. So in these applications in detail, we've been listed in the Bifrost wiki for this builder inspiration list. And analytics integrations, quite like a dawn analysis, or you can do another like a Grafana analysis for Bifrost data V tokens, or the interactions, like you build some sort of a palette, or for example, like Zenlink is a palette on Bifrost, which works for DEX and AEMM on Bifrost. They are another team, but they are building a palette on Bifrost for using V token to token as a DEX. So that's how the Zenlink works on Bifrost. So it's kind of like an integration example. So tools like a Oracle. You need to do a script for the Oracle to get the price from V token. So, and we also support any novel ideas that you can initiate your ideas with the community of Bifrost. So we are very welcome for new ideas coming out. So we will add that ideas into the list for the bounty. And there are some examples like inspirations. Build a dApp for V tokens. Build a dApp is quite like a decentralized front end for Bifrost. We have a native dApp on Bifrost, so it's the Bifrost app, and it covers all the functions of V tokens. But for for decentralized front end. So you can do like a specifically for scenario like V token. So maybe like some sort of V token functions, like a V token just mint V token and redeem V token. So that's quite like a basic function for user to interact with. So Bifrost will provide the SDK for this front end, and you can easily build your front end for Bifrost V tokens, and regularly post progresses with Bifrost community. So to make sure all the community can track the steps of your progress, and can share the and as users of new users to use your app, so using your front end. So we also provide a kind of like share commission from V token plan. So it's kind of like a deploy. It's kind of like a sign the remark to the transaction, which are transactions from the front end that you built. So this transaction means the users make V token from the decentralized front end. So the front end can receive some of like a percentage of V token commission. And the last point is get the Bifrost bounty. And build V token DeFi protocol is the which makes more of novel ideas in this topic. So you can build like a borrowing and lending or stable AMM, like a composable stable AMM like balancer, to especially for using like liquid staking tokens. So liquid staking tokens, the most attractive way is that the LSD is increasing in price, but not rebasing. For especially for V token, it actually increasing in price with staking reward. So if you're using it like a stable AMM, like a curve, so it might not be worked because the liquidity provider will lose some of cost by providing liquidity, because there is staking reward marked to the contract address, right? To the AMM contract address. So liquidity provider cannot receive that. But what we mean by this stable AMM right here is especially for the V token stable AMM curve. And the index, like building like a basket of different V tokens. So like VFO, VKs, and VEs into a basket. So you're doing an index for this, and it's like an index use case. A Moonbeam or A-Star. So we have strong relationship with Moonbeam and A-Star. So by using XCM action palette, you can easily build scenarios for users and direct the user to interact between Moonbeam ecosystem and interact between other power chains, like some unique power chains doing AMM, doing NFT. So different use cases for different power chain, and integrate Bifrost V token SDK, which is XCM action SDK. So and add V token mint and redeem function into the UI, so which allow users to directly mint V token on the front end. So share the Bifrost TVL and V token incentives in your protocol, and share users, of course, and share business and marketing resources from Bifrost and Moonbeam Polkadot, and apply grant or bounty to both Bifrost and Moonbeam community and ecosystem. And yeah, in the inspiration list, so here's the capture. You can see it's a capture for DeFi. We have some like stars on the right of each point. So it means there are some recommended scenarios that user can build. And if you go to the wiki of Bifrost, wiki.bifrost.finance/builders/inspiration, so you can see more of details. Beside DeFi, there are also gaming, the ID, and other scenarios that you can build with. And we are also welcome you if you would like to contribute some ideas to Bifrost. You can send email to hello@bifrost.finance, or you can go to Bifrost Discord to initiate your idea with your community manager. So once they receive that, it will report the idea to community and team, and we will update your community into the list. And okay, so that's the, I think that's the whole introduction for this workshop. Okay, and thank you everyone. So next step, we will start some Q&A, and me and Harry will take charge into it.
Amazing, guys. Feel free to pop any questions you have in the chat. I see some people have already been asking questions throughout the workshop, which is great. But yeah, please do keep putting questions in.
Okay, I've seen Harry has been responding some of questions. Okay, I can ask more for Irvin is asking about, is XCM action fully operational for those 3 power chains? Not clear to me. The XCM action palette is under development and testing. So we are now connecting with A-Star to doing the testing for XCM palette, especially for mint vToken and redeem function. And in about the end of this month, and the SDK will be deployed to Moonbeam. And right now we are testing about registering some of testing vToken on Moonbase, which is testing environment of Moonbeam. So in Moonbase, we need to make sure all that workflows works fluently, and we'll push it to the production. So the estimated time is about at the end of this month. Also, Moonbeam mentioned about the next version. They will support like a contract can use the function to call the palette on Bifrost. So as well, the contract will also support to call other functions on different power chains. So this very important upgrade for, I think that's RT2300 is the version name, and they will upgrade some sort of function to support XCM action deploy.
Awesome. So I'll let things kind of go here. Of course, if you guys have any more questions, do put them in our Discord channel. We'll be sure to follow up with the Bifrost team to, you know, answer any questions you guys have in terms of the bounties or any problems you're facing. But again, massive thank you to the Bifrost team for joining us today. Thanks so much. Really enjoyed the session, and thanks so much for some inspiration as well at the end. Really enjoyed. But again, everyone in the chat, I hope you guys have a lovely day, evening, morning, wherever you guys are. I hope things are going well, but we shall see you in the next workshop. So bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Thank you.